We should start a collection for her. She can't even afford a baby gift. My sister said it to a circle of her friends while I sat 10 feet away, and they laughed like she'd delivered the punchline of the year. The charity case of the family, holding a glass of sparkling water because I couldn't even pretend to afford champagne, wearing a dress they assumed came from a thrift store. What none of them knew, what was about to unravel in the most spectacular way possible, was that the woman they were mocking had quietly become the CEO of a company that paid her sister's husband's salary, approved his benefits, and could end his career with a single signature. Before I tell you what happened when that phone call drained the color from his face, comment where you're watching from. And ask yourself honestly, if your family had spent years treating you like a burden, how would you handle the moment when the power shifted? My name is Gabrielle Townsend. I'm 36 years old, and I spent most of my life being the sister nobody expected anything from. Growing up in our family in Charlotte, North Carolina meant growing up in careful comparison to my older sister, Monica. She was 3 years ahead and a lifetime ahead in our parents' estimation. Monica was the beautiful one, the social one, the one who knew how to work a room and make everyone feel like she was their best friend. I was the quiet one, the awkward one, the one who preferred books to parties and computers to conversations. In our family's hierarchy of value, that made me fundamentally less. Monica got the attention, the investment, the belief. When she wanted to go to an expensive private college, our parents found the money. When I wanted to study computer science, they suggested I try something more practical and steered me toward community college. I went anyway, took out loans they refused to co-sign, worked 2 jobs while carrying a full course load, transferred to a state university, and graduated with a degree they barely acknowledged. That's nice, Gabrielle, my mother said at my graduation, already checking her phone. Monica's getting engaged next month. We need to start planning. Monica's wedding was a $60,000 production. My graduation gift was a $50 restaurant gift card. Different daughters, different investments. That was just how it worked. After college, Monica married her boyfriend Derek, a finance guy with a good job and better ambitions. They moved into a beautiful house in a beautiful neighborhood and started building a beautiful life. I moved into a studio apartment and started a company nobody believed in. The idea came from frustration. Small businesses struggled to manage their digital operations, juggling multiple platforms, tools, and services that didn't talk to each other. I built software that integrated everything into one dashboard. Simple concept. Massive execution challenge. The first 3 years were brutal. I lived on ramen and determination. I pitched to investors who dismissed me. I cold called potential clients who hung up on me. I worked 18-hour days and questioned my choices at 3 a.m. My family watched from a distance, convinced I was wasting my life. When are you going to get a real job? My father asked at every family dinner. Monica's husband just got another promotion. My mother would add helpfully. Maybe Derek could help you find something. I stopped attending family events. It was easier than defending choices nobody wanted to understand. Then slowly, things started to change. My software worked. Clients started signing up. Revenue started growing. By year 4, I had a team of 12. By year 5, I had offices in Charlotte and Atlanta. By year 6, I'd closed a Series B funding round that valued my company, Nexus Integrated Solutions, at $85 million. I was the CEO of a growing tech company, and nobody in my family had any idea. The secrecy wasn't entirely intentional at first. I just stopped volunteering information to people who never asked. My parents assumed I was still struggling. Monica assumed I was still the charity case she'd always considered me. I let them believe whatever they wanted. Then Derek came to work for one of our client companies. I discovered it during a routine review of our enterprise accounts. His name appeared on an organizational chart for a logistics firm we'd recently signed. Director of Financial Planning. My brother-in-law was now working at a company that depended on my software. A company whose account I personally managed. A company where my decisions directly impacted his employment. The irony was exquisite. I could have disclosed the relationship, recused myself from the account, done the professionally appropriate thing. Instead, I stayed silent. I watched from a distance as Derek's company became increasingly dependent on our platform. I read his performance reviews when they crossed my desk. I knew his salary, his bonus structure, his career trajectory, all of it flowing through systems I controlled. I wasn't planning revenge. I was just waiting to see how the story would unfold. The baby shower invitation arrived 3 months ago. Monica was pregnant with her first child, and the celebration was going to be appropriately lavish. Brunch at a country club. Designer decorations. A registry that included items costing more than my first car. I almost didn't go. Family events had become exercises in endurance, surviving hours of subtle condescension before escaping back to my real life. But something made me accept. Curiosity, maybe. Or the sense that this story was approaching its climax. I arrived at the country club wearing a simple navy dress I'd chosen deliberately. Nothing expensive. Nothing that would challenge their assumptions about me. Monica greeted me with the performative warmth she'd perfected over decades. "Gabby, you came. I wasn't sure you could afford the trip." I smiled. Wouldn't miss it. The shower was exactly what I expected. Monica's friends cooing over tiny clothes and discussing nursery color schemes. My mother holding court, bragging about her first grandchild. Derek making small talk with husbands who'd been dragged along. I sat in a corner, sipping water, watching the performance. That's when Monica started talking about me. She was surrounded by her closest friends, voices pitched at that deliberately audible level people use when they want you to hear without appearing to address you directly. "My sister came," Monica said, gesturing vaguely in my direction. "Bless her heart. She's struggling, you know. Has some little computer thing she does, but..." She shook her head sadly. "Is that the one who couldn't get a real job?" one friend asked. "We should start a collection for her," Monica laughed. "She can't even afford a baby gift." The circle erupted in laughter. My mother, standing nearby, made no move to defend me. Derek smirked from across the room. I smiled and sipped my water. Some performances are worth sitting through to the end. 20 minutes later, Derek's phone rang. I watched him answer, watched his expression shift from mild annoyance to confusion to something that looked remarkably like panic. He excused himself from a conversation and stepped toward a quiet corner, but I could see his face clearly. Whatever he was hearing was not good news. When he hung up, he stood frozen for a long moment. Then he walked slowly toward Monica, interrupting her conversation with visible urgency. "We need to talk," he whispered, but not quietly enough. "Derek, I'm in the middle of..." "Now, it's about your sister." Those 3 words cut through the ambient noise. Several heads turned. Monica's smile faltered. "What about Gabrielle?" Derek's face was ashen. "That was my boss. He was calling to give me a heads up before the quarterly meeting tomorrow. Apparently, the CEO of our main software vendor is going to be there. He wanted me to know because..." He swallowed hard. "Honey, your sister is the CEO. She signs my paychecks." The silence that followed was absolute. Monica laughed, a sharp, disbelieving sound. "That's ridiculous. Gabby doesn't even have a real job. Nexus Integrated Solutions. The platform we use for everything. She founded it. She owns it. She's worth..." He couldn't finish the sentence. Every eye in the room turned toward me. I set down my water glass and stood up slowly. "Hello, everyone." Monica's face had gone through several colors and settled on a grayish pale. "This is a joke. You're playing some kind of sick joke." I wish I were. I pulled out my phone and opened the company website, turning the screen toward her. My photo. My name. My title. Nexus Integrated Solutions. I founded it 7 years ago. We have 180 employees, offices in 3 cities, and contracts with over 400 enterprise clients. I looked at Derek. "Including your company. Your division actually generates about $2 million in annual licensing fees for us. My assistant handles the account personally." Derek's mouth opened and closed without producing sound. "Your husband's salary reviews cross my desk every quarter," I continued. "I know what he makes. I know his bonus structure. I know that last year, he was flagged for a performance improvement plan that I chose not to escalate." Monica's friends had retreated to safe distances, suddenly very interested in the refreshment table. "You called me a charity case," I said quietly, just for Monica. "Suggested your friends take up a collection for me. And the whole time, I've been the one who could take up a collection to buy everything in this room, including, arguably, your husband's career." Monica's voice cracked. "Why didn't you tell us?" "Why would I? You never asked about my work. Never showed interest in anything I was building. You just assumed I was failing because it made you feel better about your own choices." I looked at my mother, who had been standing frozen near the gift table. "You told me to get a real job. To be more like Monica. To stop wasting time with my little computer thing." I smiled. The little computer thing is worth approximately $85 million now. I own 40% of that. My mother's champagne glass slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. I didn't come here to humiliate you, I said to the room. I came because Monica invited me, and despite everything, she's still my sister. But I'm done pretending to be the charity case this family decided I was. I picked up my purse. Congratulations on the baby, Monica. Genuinely. I hope you raise her better than we were raised. I hope you teach her that success doesn't look just one way, and that the quiet ones sometimes build the loudest things. I walked toward the door. Gabby, wait. Derek's voice stopped me. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. I know you didn't. That's part of the point. What happens now? At work, I mean. Am I? Your job is safe, Derek. You're good at it. The performance flag was addressed. My personal feelings about how this family treats me have nothing to do with your employment. I paused at the door. But maybe think about how you talk about people you think are beneath you. You never know who might be listening. I left. The aftermath was predictable chaos. My phone exploded with calls and texts within an hour. Monica crying. My mother demanding explanations. My father, silent for years, suddenly very interested in reconnecting. I ignored most of them. Derek called me at work 2 days later. Professional, apologetic, clearly terrified despite my assurances. I told him what I'd told him at the shower. His job was secure, his performance was adequate, and my family drama was separate from business decisions. He thanked me profusely. Then he asked if I could help him understand what had happened. Your wife spent my whole life treating me like less than, I said simply. I got tired of it. That's all. She's different now, he said. Since the shower. She's been crying for 2 days. I think she's actually seeing something for the first time. Good. Growth is painful. It's also necessary. Monica reached out a week later. Not through text or phone, but through a handwritten letter. Old-fashioned. Thoughtful. She apologized. Not the performative apology of someone caught in the act, but something deeper. She wrote about growing up believing she was the special one, the one who deserved more, and how that belief had poisoned how she treated me. She wrote about the shame of realizing she'd built her self-worth on someone else's diminishment. She asked if we could try again. Start over. Build something new. I didn't respond immediately. Some wounds take time to consider. But eventually I called her. I don't know if I can forget everything, I told her. But I'm willing to try remembering you differently. The person you're becoming instead of the person you were. She cried. We both did. The baby was born last month. A girl. Monica named her Grace, which felt appropriate. I'm the godmother. Not because I bought the role with my success. Not because Monica suddenly respects me for my money. But because we've spent the last few months having real conversations for the first time in our lives. Learning who each other actually is, instead of who we assumed. My parents are trying too. Awkwardly. Imperfectly. But trying. If you're watching this and your family has ever treated you like a burden, a disappointment, a charity case, I want you to know something. Their assumptions aren't your limits. Build quietly. Build relentlessly. Build until the day comes when they're standing in the shadow of what you created, finally seeing you clearly for the first time. My sister called me the charity case. Now I sign her husband's paychecks. If this story hit home, share yours in the comments. And subscribe, because the next story might be exactly what you needed to hear.